phone line. Shada, what do you make of Santhi's plight? What does it say about the various federations that are supposed to support these athletes, not only during the time that they participate during a certain championship, but even after that, considering they have won laurels for the country?
You know, the story that I've just read, it's a horrifying story, but it's not surprising to me, because this is the way athletes are generally treated. If you are, at the moment, if you are not amongst the top, you know, it is out of sight, out of mind. And to think that both Pinky Pramanik's case and Santhi's case have come up at the same time, these are both medal winners. So can you imagine what happens to the athletes who don't really make it, you know, who don't really get great medals, or you know, who don't actually perform. I mean, there is a certain level of almost you know, when in federations, the athlete is not the center of the federation's existence. It is the people who run the federations and the associations who think they are more important than anything else. And this is just a consequence of you know, that whole mindset. And this mindset has been going on for about 30, 40, 50 years now. And, you know, you can just see the way it is reflected in how her case was treated. No one bothered to find out why had her test shown up. If there is a chromosomal, you know, pattern that is different from what is considered normal, both in Pinky's case and her case, why did not the Athletic Federation stand up for her? You know, why did not?
Normally of a gender test, Sharda, like you just mentioned, we saw pretty much what happened during Pinky Pramanik's case. There was a lot of voyeurism involved, considering there were MMSs being made. There was trial that was happening not just in the media, but even the sporting fraternity, who seemed to have not backed Pinky Pramanik enough. She may or may not have done the crime, but she was in a way, you know, held guilty for what really had happened, considering there were questions raised about her gender. That is certainly an area where we do not see a lot of support for athletes, at least in India.
You know, in Pinky Pramanik's case, she gave an interview recently to a magazine in which she said that her voice had started to become hoarse, and she started to sort of, you know, get a sort of a voice like a man's because of these Russian injections she kept getting, which is obviously some kind of drug or some kind of doping that was going on. And going on, you know, it's not like the athlete went out and bought the drugs. It's like her coaches, her seniors, the athletic fraternity, they knew that this is happening. Her case is slightly different from Santhi's case, because it turned out to be a criminal, you know, there was a legal case against her by her partner, and we've seen that this is a really sordid story that has turned, you know, many corners. But regardless, the fact that she was supported by a certain bunch of athletes who said that she should not have been treated like this. And I know that, I remember there were statements from the Athletics Federation, but you know, in her story, she says, I was given these drugs. I was given this medicine. I was given these injections. They were Russian injections, you know. So what goes on, what is happening to the female athletes, they train and they grow up in completely, you know, unbalanced sort of equations of power with their coaches and so on. And in Santhi's case, no one wanted to stand up for her. No one wanted to say, okay, this has happened to you. You know, you've had this, all your records have been wiped out, but let's try and reinstitute you somewhere. Let's make sure that you can get a job, that you have a life to live. She was just lost and discarded at the wayside.
Absolutely. And we're bringing out the contrast, Sharda, between Santhi's case and, of course, the South African athlete for whom the entire country seemed to have stood up, and she's now going to be a flag bearer for South Africa during the London Games. Is that too much to expect right now? We're not saying Shanti should represent India in the Olympics, considering she hasn't even participated in any games for a long time now. But the sort of support that we can actually expect right now for Santhi from not just sporting community but people at large.
I think, you know, if Shanti would have got some kind of support from, you know, the athletics folks, or going by what she had to tell the reporter in the story today, if she had got support from the athletic community, whether it was in Tamil Nadu where she lives, or whether it was at the national level, to just kind of reinstate her and give her a life again. You know, rather than just toss her on the side and have her doing this, you know, because there is no consideration. I mean, I want to know what would have happened to her if she would have been a middle-class English-speaking girl. Would her life have been like this? I don't think so. You know, because she came from a family that was not particularly wealthy or well off. She was just literally treated like India treats the rest of people who are sort of economically below this, great India signing stuff that's going on. So I think her case was a time for the athletic community and for the federation and for people to come in and say what has happened to her now. I mean, I remember when I was reading about Pinky's story, my first thought was, I wonder what's happened to Santhi Soundarajan. I wonder where she is now. And now we know. I don't, I work for a cricket website, or I think, I was convinced that some journalists would try and find her. So